And welcome back to Unconditional, a podcast from Transcend with Love. Transcend with Love was started in order to help parents and loved ones through the emotional process of the journey that we're thrown into as parents when our child comes out to us. I focus on transgender and non-binary because that is the experience that I have, but this can apply also to any coming out, whether of the under the LGBTQ plus umbrella, as I call it. Transcend with Love is here in order to support the parents. It's confidential. It is non-biased, non-judgmental. It is just a safe space to be able to talk to somebody that's been there and that can walk you through this journey. With that said, I want to get into the podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about National Coming Out Day, which is actually October 11th. National Coming Out Day has become a day where a lot of people who have been in the closet decide to come out to their families or to their friends. Some people don't. Obviously, some people are still waiting and they're not wanting to do that yet, but a lot of people do. So for a lot of us, this is a day where we will find out that our child has been suffering and questioning and pretty much just scared to let us know how they feel, what they've been feeling, how they've been processing, like what has been going on with them. For those of us that have noticed that something's going on and we really don't know, this is the day that you might find out. So what I want to talk about today is kind of my story and how I found out. It was not a National Coming Out Day, but nonetheless, it was a coming out story, and how we dealt with it, how I wish I would have dealt with it, and just a little bit of advice on that. So 9 years ago, yes, nine years ago, my son came out as trans. And the way I found out was through Facebook. Yeah, not maybe the best way that I would have wanted to find out, but I'm glad I found out. I opened up Facebook and there was a post from my son basically saying, I really want y'all to, call me by this name, and this is what I am, and this is who I am, and pretty much just kind of putting it all out there for everyone to see. My initial reaction was, what? I reached out to his dad, which is who he was living with at the time, to see if he knew anything, and he didn't. He found out also. We all found out through Facebook. My very first reaction was to reach out to my son and say, and I basically told him, I said, I love you. I am proud of you. I will always love you, and I will always be in your corner. And my very next question was, why didn't you tell me? I was hurt. I was very hurt. How could this child of mine that I gave birth to, not feel comfortable telling me something like this? I had given a lot of opportunities of just asking different things. I never considered transgender. I didn't really understand what that was, but I thought I had been loving and open enough, and to be able to give him that space and opportunity to feel that he could tell me anything. I was so adamant about giving my children that because I never felt that I had that as I was growing up. But apparently I didn't allow that from him, or he felt that I wouldn't be receptive of it. So when he responded, his response was, I didn't know how to bring it up. I didn't know how to tell you. And my heart broke as a mom, because immediately I thought I failed. I failed him. And then that started a lot of my thoughts of failure and wondering what I had done wrong in order, so I must have done something. I must have said something. I had to have done something in order for him to be questioning his gender, in order for him to now be saying that he has always been a boy instead of a girl. It just didn't compute. I'm a very logical person in the sense of I have to make sense of everything. So maybe logical is not the right word, but I overthink a lot. So those that know me will definitely agree. but it made no sense to me. And if it didn't make any sense to me, it caused even more confusion, more shame and guilt and all of the emotions. And then from then on, what I did versus what I should have done, what I did was I focused completely on him, which is not bad. I neglected my own questions and my own emotions because I felt that if I didn't support him 100% at that moment, that I was not supporting him as a mother and having unconditional love for him or unconditional acceptance. I had known what it was like to feel rejected, not in the same way, but I had promised myself that I would never let my children feel that way. And so my reaction was immediate support. And I'm not disagreeing with that. I think showing support by being there for your child is the best thing to do. But showing support by just rushing in and not processing it and completely ignoring our feelings is not the best thing to do. It's definitely the worst thing we can do. So basically, I just went on and I picked up, the symbolic transgender flag, and I started marching behind him, making sure that nobody criticized, nobody said anything. Like, I was very defensive, and it was very obvious to people. Um, with my family, like with his siblings, with my kids, I didn't really handle it well. What I should have done is we should have all gone to counseling. My son was going to counseling. I was going to counseling separately, even before this. But we never did a family counseling. A family counseling, I believe, would have been the first thing to do because it wasn't just me that was affected. It was his sister, his brother, my husband at the time, his dad, his stepmom. Like, immediately, those were the people that were affected, in addition to his grandparents and his aunts and uncles and cousins and just family, our close friends. So there was so many people that were affected that never got the chance to really, really process this. They were terrified of telling me anything because they didn't want me to take it as me being them being unsupportive. And at that peak point, I was like the fiercest mama bear you can imagine. Don't say anything. If you didn't agree 100% with what was going on, then you were against us. You did not love us. And oh my God, I could not believe that you say you love me and my child, but yet you don't 100% support and approve this. Because in my head, what that meant by not approving him was that I could lose him. He had had several suicide attempts before, and my mind was just fully on making sure he was alive. And my fear of anybody saying something or rejecting him in any way was that it would lead him back down that depression cycle depression cycle and spiral down. And I did not want that. So I was very, tunnel vision. It was just this, it was this, nobody else. Everything else everybody said did not matter. All that mattered was him staying alive. And that meant I had to support, and everybody had to support him no matter what. And that was wrong. That's where the counseling would have helped, because unfortunately, what ended up happening over the last few years is after that was that his siblings didn't really process it. Instead, there was a lot of resentment. There was a lot of hurt and anger because their world had been turned upside down. Nobody had asked them how they felt. Nobody had asked them their opinion, how it was affecting them. Nobody had gone through that process of helping them process the emotions. It was just, this is what it is. Your brother is this is his name, this is what we're doing. And if you agree or don't agree, it doesn't matter. You just better always defend him. That was the directive that I gave. And that was so unfair. It was so unfair. And I feel horrible for doing that to my kids. I can see how by not wanting to think, not hit my son, not wanting to feel rejected, I absolutely made my other children feel rejected. And I still struggle. I still struggle with what they must have felt. It has affected their relationship with their brother. Um, it has affected their relationship with me. It has affected their relationship probably with a lot of people. And I really regret it. So counseling. Make sure that all of the immediate family, the nuclear family, and anybody else that is part of your inner circle is a part of counseling, or at least has their ability to say their say without going into protective mode, or kill mode in a sense. um it just did not help at all. If anything, I think it made things so much worse than they could have been. um we have a very loving family, and I really believe that if I had given them the opportunity and given everyone a chance to process it and handle it on their own, it would have happened naturally. It would have. Do my other children absolutely love their brother? Absolutely. Are they behind him 100%? Absolutely. But the way they got there was hurtful for them. It strained a lot of relationships as well with me and my family. It strained relationships with friends. I've lost friends because of that. I don't know. I might have lost them anyways, but my actions did not help the situation. They definitely made it worse and made it very difficult for me and other people, or for other people to approach me. Um, to this day, I still have people that are kind of watching what they say around me, because, they don't want to upset me. They don't want to, insult me, all that stuff. And I appreciate the people's respect, but at the same time, I'm not having respect for them by giving them the space to ask questions, or say anything. Now, granted, I don't want to hear anybody saying anything negative. I don't want to hear anybody disparaging my child, or anybody, or anything that I'm doing, or what we none of that. That is not acceptable. That is a respect issue. Other people need to respect us as well. However, questions, curious, just wondering, and maybe, wanting to know how to approach the situation because they haven't known, so they've just disappeared, or retracted. That is healthy conversation. That is conversation that I invite everybody to have, as long as it's done in a respectful way, where that as a parent of, or loved one of a, an LGBTQ child, because this can apply to, I mean, everybody, that you can have your boundaries. Boundaries are important. Know what it is, and not that you accept people to say or come to you. Make sure that those boundaries are very set. As someone crosses that boundary, be very respectful in the way of saying, you know what, I appreciate your concern. I appreciate that you're checking in. However, I don't feel comfortable answering what you just said because it came across very negatively, or however that looks like. And then the other person should be respectful, and take into consideration what you're saying, regardless of if they believe you, if they believe the same as you believe, if they think it's right or wrong, whether they think, someone's going to hell or not. I mean, it doesn't matter. That does not change how someone should speak to someone else in a respectful way. The question can always be asked in a better way than in a negative connotation, or accusatory, or basically coming to you and saying your child is going to hell or whatever. I mean, no, that is not what we do. We need to handle it the way we'd want someone to handle it with us. As a parent, we are, for those of you that aren't parents, or loved ones, and you have a situation where someone, or a loved one in your sense, but not like family or a close friend, is going through this, do not, or if they are and you just don't know how to say anything, whatever you do not approach them with talking about religion. Do not approach them talking about politics. Do not approach them about anything that you think is so important that they have to learn it or have to know it in order to make the right choice as a parent. No, we do not do that, because at that time, what the parent is doing or dealing with is so much emotion, so much confusion, so much feeling of guilt and fear and just so much that the last thing they need to hear from anybody, especially their loved and trusted ones, is talking about the religion aspect. They know, they believe the same as you do. They do. So they already have that in their head. They already have the beliefs they have, whether it's politics or real. I mean, all of those thoughts are already in their head. Believe me, they are the first things that came to their head. And they're the first things that are making them confused, and they're making them question so many things. So other people bringing it up to you or to them, that's just going to make things worse. Believe me, the best way that we can handle this as outsiders coming in to a parent or a loved one that has just said, my child just came out as transgender. My child just came out as non-binary. My child just came out as a lesbian, gay, bisexual, pansexual, whatever, is I am here for you. I cannot imagine what you are going through as a parent. I don't know what you're going through as a parent, but please know that I love you. I love your child, and I will always love you and your child. If you need anything, let me know. If you need someone just to hear you out, let me know. And that's it. Tell them you love them, that you support them. There's no place for your opinion. None. I guarantee you that that parent is going to love and appreciate that, because now they feel like, okay, I have a place where I can process, I can think out loud until I find a therapist or whatever. I have someone I can talk to that's not going to judge, that's not going to sit there and tell me their opinion, that's not going to, try to tell me what to do, that's just going to listen. That is the right way to respond. The best. And if you can't do that, don't say anything. Don't say anything. You might just say, you know what? I really am having a hard time with this right now. Can I, I love you. Can I have some time to process it so that I say the right thing to you and not the right thing? Because I love and respect you so much that I'd rather take my time than react right now. As a parent, that would have been amazing, amazing to hear from someone, instead of just getting ghosted or people avoiding it, or feeling like people think you have the plague or something. That it's a very lonely feeling, very, very lonely. And it makes it even harder for you and your child, because at this point, as a parent, what we are supposed to be doing is making sure our child is emotionally, which then also leads to physically safe, obviously. And then making sure that we're emotionally safe, because the emotions we're going through are just as strong as the emotions our child is going through. And we need to accept them and be able to sit there with them and know that it doesn't make you a bad parent to feel the negative emotions. It doesn't make you a unsupportive parent if you feel them. Just because you're not feeling 100% joy and excitement and wanting to go and tell the whole world does not mean that it's a bad thing. You're not a bad parent. You are figuring it out. Okay. I was confused. I was terrified because, one, I didn't know what the heck it meant. Two, oh my God, is my child going to be safe? Because especially now with everything going on, that it's not safe out there for transgender individuals. So if I had found out today, I would have been even more so of a mess, because at least 9 years ago, it was not so heightened and politicized as it is right now. So right now, finding out, you not only are confused, you're terrified for your child and for you, and then you're also you're kind of, at least me, I had a little pride in there, because I was like, oh my God, my 17-year-old is so courageous and has so much courage that he just put that out there for the whole world to see. Was that the best way to do it? I don't know. Maybe not. It doesn't matter. The fact is, he did it. He this person that had been a shell of themselves for so long because they had gone through this depression, they had gone through hurting, their self-harming by cutting, and just basically was introverted and did not have a social anxiety to the max, now is putting this out there. Yes, I had pride, but that pride also had the fear and the confusion and this obligation of, I've got to protect him, I've got to protect him. So there was a lot of good emotions, and there was a lot of um kind of also relief, because now I understood why he had been struggling, why all of this stuff was going on. Even though we were doing the counseling, even though we had gone through all of this stuff, he was still struggling. Now I understood. So there was relief. I didn't understand it all, but I understood what he had been going through, what it was, why we hadn't been able to help him. So there was relief too. So when I say that there's emotions all over the board, there's emotions all over the board. And and I felt guilty for having a lot of the emotions I did, which meant that I pushed them down. I didn't deal with them. So here I am 9 years later, little by little, I've started unpacking them just here in the last couple of years. And I'm realizing how damaging that was for me and for my family and for the relationships that I lost or really mishandled, and the people that I hurt, especially my children in this. I really hope one day they find a way to forgive me. If y'all are watching, I am so sorry. I did the best I could with what I had at that time. So now I'm here for all those other parents that are dealing with this, telling you, don't do that. It just makes things harder. You just love them, accept them, and be there for yourself. Make sure you get self-care. Make sure that you have a therapist. Make sure that that you have that group of people of support, people that have been through it. I am here. We are here. If any of this has resonated with you, please reach out and contact me. I offer 30-minute free consultations. You can message me and we can talk through there if you want at first, and then we can decide if it's a call that we need to make. Um, I don't want anybody to feel the way I did. I don't want anybody to 10 years later look back and be like, I really should have done this differently. And I especially don't want anybody to lose their relationship with their child or their children because of the way it's handled. As a parent, we try so hard to be perfect, and we're not. We're just not. And we never will be. Have grace on yourself. Have grace with yourself. You're going to do things wrong. I did a lot of things wrong. I'm still doing them wrong. But we have to remember that we need to forgive ourselves. The grace that we have for others, we have to have for ourselves, because this is so new. And it's right now, it's so heightened and politicized, like I said, that you're hearing things all the time, and you're hearing great things and you're hearing horrible things. Mostly you're hearing horrible things, probably, because if you're not 100% supportive of your child, which most people aren't, especially when they first come out, then you're going to be hearing a lot of bad stuff. Some of it might be true, some of it might not, but I will tell you this, most of it is exaggerated. It is on both ends, no matter where you hear it from. So reach out to me. You are not alone. I am here for you, and I want to do nothing but help you walk through this journey. Um, with that, I want to say thank you so much for joining me again. Next week, it will be right after National Coming Out Day comes out. So I'm going to keep talking a little bit more about this, more so about a different perspective, the perspective of a person coming out and what that looks like and what they're feeling. I hope you join me. I look forward to talking to you again. And remember, with unconditional love and respect for our children and our loved ones, and especially ourselves, we can transcend all struggles. Y'all have a great week.